So here are 2 tips to help with your hand passing. Tip number 1, we talked about this before, tracking with your forehead, all right? So if I'm getting ready to hand pass that ball, all right, I want to track it so that it's at my forehead, all right? So that if it were to fall, it would land on my forehead and actually go in the direction that I want it to go, all right? That doesn't mean that we're passing it like this, right? I want you to actually try to track it with your forehead in the way that you're going to be, so we're in that ready position. Now for tip number 2, when we learn how to track like that, we actually need to contact the ball well, all right? So what happens with a lot of you is you're actually not contacting it all as a unit with both hands. Sometimes it's coming off one hand, it's coming off the other, and then you're shanking the ball if it's not going in the direction you want it to go, right? So what we actually need to do is learn how to contact it with both hands well and strike it with both hands in the direction that we want to go, all right? So something that you can do, right? You can do this against the wall, you can have someone serve at you and you practice the tracking and catching in that optimal point with both hands, all right? So I'm gonna toss the ball here and I'm gonna track it and I'm catching it with both hands. Now, someone who is having troubles with this, they're miscontacting the ball or they're not getting a good contact with it, what you'll find they'll actually do is one hand will contact it and then the other one will come around and contact it, or they'll fumble the ball, all right? So if they can't catch it or there's some movement in it when they do catch it, what that tells me is they're not contacting it in that optimal point. So throughout that drill, you're just training, tracking with the forehead and catching it in the optimal point. And then from there, you can actually work on striking it and you'll find that it's a lot better because you're tracking it better and you're contacting it well with 2 hands. Now, a bonus tip for you for hand passing. Now, sometimes it's not a really good idea to commit too early to hand passing, all right? So what I tell my athletes here is that we're starting in that forearm pass, all right? So we can forearm pass here if we need to, and we're tracking the ball still in that forearm passing position. And if it comes higher, right? So if it's higher than our eyes, then what we do is we come up here in that position, okay? And we go into that hand pass. So we stay in an open platform, all right, and we're moving and we're tracking. If it's still at chest level, then we're still gonna do our forearm pass, but then if it's anything higher, then we're gonna come up. So we're using the energy from pushing down on the floor and from the hands coming up to then get a little bit more energy into the ball in that hand pass, and we pair that also with the tracking and with the optimal contact, striking it with 2 hands. But you can also make it so that it's higher than you or it's at your forehead. So if you really want a hand pass or you committed to it already, then you can come up so that you're actually still in that position, okay? What we don't want to do is get into this position here, right? So we're still in that open platform here, right? And then we see that it's kind of in the middle. We may want to hand pass it, but we need to come up and then actually get into that position. We're tracking with the forehead. I'm nice and loaded and I'm bringing my arms up and then I'm going up to strike that ball with 2 hands.